All right, let's bring in Bryce Ekemini Udim, who is a legal practitioner, if we could catch up with him. Mr. Ekemini, are you there? Can you hear us, Mr. Ekemini?
Yes, I'm here. I can hear you.
Well, sincere apologies. We needed to chat up with him because of his movement. But I'm sure you heard everything he said. Maybe your quick response and how you characterize this defection of the governor and members of the Assembly and members of the National Assembly. So the 3 senators in the states are now members of the APC.
Well, I listened to my learned friend, Honorable Dr. Patrick Umoh. Expectedly, my learned friend will be very excited about the defection of the governor. It's a big catch, from the PDP to the APC, almost effortlessly. So his excitement is well expected. But, when you look at the reasons given, for me, the reasons are not such that are so convincing. When you talk about the governor's admiration for the president of the country, which is a good thing, but you ask the question, at what point are you admiring the president? We saw clearly that the president was the candidate of the APC shortly before the election. Perhaps that would have also been a good time to jump ship, move from the PDP, join the APC in total admiration of the person of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So when you talk about the admiration of the president as being one of the very significant reasons for leaving your political party and joining the president's political party, I don't think a lot of people will be very convinced about that. Now you talk about the signing of form. My governor has said he's not sure who is going to sign his form building up to the 2027 election. And I ask, is this the first time the PDP is having problem? Has PDP never resolved its internal problems before? And if you watch the video clips of the gala night that was held a few days ago at the banquet hall here in Umoh, you would see the national secretary of the PDP in attendance, the senator that is the national secretary of the PDP. He was in attendance. Does that look like someone that is not going to sign the form of the governor when the time comes for the submission of the forms? So I don't think that the issue of who is going to sign forms of the PDP at the national should be a problem, because if PDP has issues now, which for me it's not an issue. Why? Because the Supreme Court has spoken, has said that Senator Anyanwu is the General Secretary of the PDP, and that is settled. And certainly that is the person that is going to sign. INEC today, when you take form to INEC is interested on who signed. And you can see that so far, INEC has been insisting that it has to be Senator Anyanwu. And so I think that was not supposed to be an issue. It is an issue that is certainly going to be resolved before the 2027 general election. My governor also spoke about the dividends of democracy. And Bukola did ask, must you be a member of the president's political party before you can have dividends of democracy for your people? I think the answer is no. If we are running a democracy, then irrespective of the political party that I belong, I should be able, number one, you are getting allocation every month from the center. And as governor of the state, I should be more interested in how the allocation is being spent to touch down on the lives of the people. Recall that the present minister of the FCT, Nyesom Wike, when he was the governor of Rivers State, he kept saying that he had no business in Aso Rock Villa. That was his position. He said his concentration is on Rivers State. That when he gets the allocation for Rivers State, his concentration is to ensure that he uses that money to affect the lives of the people of Rivers. And you saw what he did. And that's what I think that every governor should be more interested in. That is, when you get the allocation, which is given across party line, it doesn't matter the political party you belong. When you get the allocation, you use it effectively in running the affairs of your people. Now, if we cannot get the approvals for evacuative seaports, even as we have the Senate president as the number 3 person in Nigeria, then what are we talking about? I think that the position of the Senate president is enough. And I'm sure the Senate president is not keeping quiet over it. I'm sure he has been doing 1 or 2 things about getting all the approvals for Ibaka Deep Seaport. Don't forget that successive governments have been giving approvals. It's not something that we're going to start from the scratch. Don't forget also that Akwa Ibom is not expecting the federal government to come and construct the seaport. All we need is approvals. The construction is going to be done by Akwa Ibom government and also with technical partners. And so when we keep talking about the Ibom Deep Seaport as being the basis for moving to the center, and by the way, where is the center? If the center is not in the Niger Delta region where the oil money is from, where the revenue for sustaining Nigeria is from, then what are we talking about? So I just think that most of the reasons given by the governor are not strong and convincing enough. Yes, the governor could have simply said, I am leaving to join the APC because I have the constitutional rights of freedom of association and I can move and join any political party at any time. And also, the Constitution of Nigeria, sadly, does not have consequence for a governor that defects. It only punishes legislators that defect. So the governor had no much explanation to have made because most of the explanations that he made, with due respect to him, don't really seem to sit well with a lot of Nigerian citizens. It would have been a simple thing. I am joining because I have the rights.
Let's look at the implications of this defection on a wider scale now. You know, some would say that even those who have not defected or those who are planning to defect but have not disclosed their intentions, you know, have very little consequence because the PDP is only the APC branch in another color or shade. So it's the danger of this gradual slide into a one-party state that is a bigger concern for which we should be reflecting on and probably taking action on, you know, in order to stem this slide. So what are your thoughts on the danger of sliding into a one-party state, particularly amid concerns expressed by those who are rallying to form a coalition that INEC is sitting on the applications of political interested parties in forming new political parties?
Well, if INEC is sitting on the application of persons that want to come together to challenge what we may call the status quo in Nigeria, then it's so sad. INEC should behave like a public institution funded by taxpayers' money, and every application that comes and meets the requirements, the criteria set by the law and set by the internal regulations of INEC, INEC should register that political party. It shouldn't be the concern of INEC, who should have the upper hand in any election and so on. INEC should give free hand to anybody because, after all, I did say it is about the rights to freedom of association. And so if people want to come together and then form a big umbrella, after all, the president of Nigeria, you know, he did the same thing a few years ago when he, out of considering the political landscape in Nigeria, brought, I think, 3 political parties together to form the APC, and that gave them the leverage to be able to challenge the PDP, that was the biggest political party at the time. So INEC does not have that discretion in law to outrightly refuse any application that has been rightly, you know, presented to them. I am not afraid that Nigeria is going to turn into a one-party state. I'm not afraid of that. Why?
So Mr. Odim,
in the last election,
Nigerians can challenge INEC in court for its delay in approving applications for the formation of new political parties. Is that an option open?
No, Nigerians can do that. You know, in the past, INEC had deregistered some political parties, and those that were affected went to court. The courts are there to look at the position of the law, look at the procedure. If the criteria had been met, then you have no reason than to register the political party. There is no cap. This is not the military way we had the SDP and the NRC only. Now, everybody that wants to form a political party, if you meet the criteria, it is allowed. Any political party existing that wants to, you know, come together and form a mega political party, INEC has no option than to allow them. So anybody that feels aggrieved about it can certainly get to the courts.
All right, Mr. Kemini, I'm sure that the dynamics of our politics and the polity is going to be interesting in the coming days. This is just the very beginning. And we still have close to 2 years before the next general elections. In fact, by this time next year, the campaign season would have started heating up across board. But we must thank you for coming on the program as always, bringing your perspective and your insight on the program. Keminudim is a legal practitioner who joined us virtually from Umoh, the Akwa Ibom State capital. Thank you, sir.
Many thanks for having me.